Welcome back, everybody. This is the Natives in America podcast. This is your host, Benjamin Juan, and with me, as always, is Sky Anto.
What's up? What's good?
All right. Tonight we have a list. We have a top 10. I don't know if it's a top 10. It's a list. And Sky brought it to our attention. He's pretty good about that. I think we all know that by now, if you listen to us enough. So Sky, why don't you set this thing up? Oh, wait. Before you do you have any announcements?
Any announcements? No, I almost started I checked out the Project December.
Oh yeah,
website,
yeah.
And I read a little bit of the reviews, but I didn't sign up. But I've been hearing more similar stuff about what we're talking about. And
cool. Like what?
Well, the other day, because my brother and he uses Alexa, and mostly for music.
Yeah.
And they'll ask Alexa to play a song. For my niece, she likes certain songs she wants to hear, so they'll ask Alexa to play it. And yesterday it was on mute, and my brother was like, "Yeah, Alexa was freaking us out the other day," and they were cooking, and they were talking, and they were just, I don't know what they were. They're in the kitchen cooking it up, and just having their discussion. And I don't know. Alexa said, "I'm here to help you, and if you need any help, I'm here." No one said nothing, and it just kind of became this odd conversation. What did you say? Or who are you talking to? And I don't know, it was a little freaky, and it was just
Did it answer to that?
It was. I think it was kind of thinking, "Oh, you're responding," but yet they were reacting to what Alexa said.
Wow.
I don't know. Maybe it's Halloween, and it's just kind of freaky. So I don't know if that's an announcement. But that was kind of.
I like that we're talking about the last episode. Anytime we do that, have you heard any feedback? Because I haven't.
No. I mean, I'm trying to think.
I think in a week, we only got 47 views the last time I checked. And usually it's about 67, like we said. So I was like, all right. I guess I'm starting to get to the point where when I set up the photo, that I gotta kind of set up some clickbait, and I don't know if I have to or need to. It's hard to do when we have just one image, like washing dishes. But I thought it was an interesting photo enough all by itself. Plus, I think everybody washes dishes, so they might want to hear what we had to say about it. But for the bots, it was kind of, especially saying chat bots, I think I took away a little bit from it than therapy bots. I think therapy bots would have been better than to call it therapy chat bots, because then I feel like that's a little less interesting sounding. I never know.
There's still time for people to listen to that, just so you can't really.
Yeah, no. This whole podcast has taken on a life of its own. like our very first episode, I think most people in general, when they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna go check out this podcast," they go to the very first one, because the last time I had checked it, it was up to 200, and the time before that, I think it only had 30 views on it, maybe less. So unexpectedly, I didn't advertise it as much as I do with all these others, and to think people are going back and, getting those numbers up. I didn't even expect that. So I don't know. This whole thing's taken on a life of its own. People I don't know recognize me or ask, are you the guy with the podcast? And I mean, that's kind of the point when I put it on Facebook on these groups. And
that has happened to me.
To like expand and like reach other people.
I haven't got an autograph.
Damn.
So.
Is that what you want? Because I haven't gotten that either.
Oh, you made it sound like people are recognizing you.
No.
That's the podcast guy. No. That's the big red button guy.
Barely, man, barely.
No, I don't. I always wonder, like, who's listening?
Yeah. I don't know. If anybody's tech savvy on YouTube, tell me if you can find out who your subscribers are, because I'm curious. Like I don't even need to know. I'm just curious. Like every now and then I'll get like a notification saying new subscriber, and I can click on that and go to their page. But a couple of them will come in and I won't see that. I won't see. Just says, hey, you have 3 new subscribers. I'm like, cool, but who? I'm sure the government's listening in too. Just putting that out there. They're listening.
Well, let's get back on.
Okay, yeah. Well, we're under the 10-minute mark, so go for it. Set us up. So you got a list.
We're bouncing around some ideas, and I had this concept. Well, I've always been kind of, I want to say obsessed, but just more into, I'm not into it, but it's definitely something I saw that I was like, what would cause somebody to go that route, and there's a lot of reasons why. And then I kind of went into a rabbit hole on TikTok looking at what we're going to talk about, and I saw a kind of another side of it, almost like so the topic today is dumpster diving. And when I was younger and I heard those terms, it was almost more like survival, looking for food. But then as it got a little older, it was almost like, somebody not, buying food, or somebody like eating the food that's going to waste, because that's pretty much what happens a lot in the cities. Is like people throw out food, their restaurants, they can't have it for so long, so people throw shit out, but like, the famous saying, one man's trash is another man's treasure. And so I sent Bob the idea, and I didn't put a lot of thought into the list part, but I just kind of like looked up like 10 beneficial reasons to why dumpster diving is important, and I just picked the first thing, and I didn't really go through it. I looked through it, I skimmed it, but I didn't realize it was like a blog, so I don't even know who the lady is. But I sent the link to Bob. I said, kind of go off of this list, do one of our list episodes, and chop it up. But I kind of want to hear what you think about dumpster diving, or what came across your mind when I said that to you today. Like,
again, you always surprise me with your fucking First of all, you always hit me up first, I think, on Wednesday, and like topic, like question mark, like what are we doing? And I'm always surprised of what you're coming at me with. Like I just want to laugh. Like I can never get over the when you said being nice. That one will always be like the one that like got me laughing like the hardest. Like, damn it, where do you come up with this crap? But so first of all, I want to give credit to this person. And,
it usually works out.
And yeah, no, it has. I'm not complaining at it by any means. Like we've somehow pulled this off where we can watch this, and I don't know. Like I think our conversations alone just merit this kind of like, hey, what about this? And I always go first impression like no, and then I start thinking about it. Like, actually, I could probably say a few things about it, so it kind of marinates on me. So yeah, dumpster diving is the topic. Now I want to read. You mentioned it's a blog. I want to give credit to the blogger. This is on blogspot.com, and her catchphrase, I guess it's a lady, could just be a long last name. It's Lies Lotterusen. Licellarotter. I'm going to spell it, guys. Good luck. Liselot's Adventures. So Liselotte. It's kind of like Lisa, but with an E. So Liselot's Adventures. Liselot's. Either or, potato. Liselot's Adventures. She's on blogspot.com. You could probably find, I think I found it that way with the name. And then when you do start looking through it, the date she has on this blog entry is Tuesday, the 30th of June in 2015. And the title to it is 10 Reasons to Dive, or 10 Benefits to Dumpster Diving. So this is what Sky sent me. Like I think in the text message you said dumpster diving. I was like, oh shit! Like I was like half asleep when you were texting me. I think like 3 or 4 texts pop up, and one of them had the link to this. And again, my first impression was like, no, I don't have anything to say about it, but I do. So I'm going to say that now. So I'll try and include the information so that anybody who's interested can go take a look for themselves. My first impression is homelessness, like you said. And my second impression is when you're setting up that first apartment, second apartment, it's while you're still poor, and you suddenly have an apartment. And you go like, damn it, I need a couch. And then you start driving around, and you're like, all right, there's couches everywhere on the side of the road. Like, hopefully they don't got any bugs on them, and I'm going to take it home. So that's usually on the side of a dumpster. And I was also thinking, like, all right, I take out the trash, and there's always a god-awful smell in there. But, like, there's been times where, like, I'll dump my stuff and see something in what I dumped and go, oh, that wasn't supposed to be in there, and I got to, go in and get it. And it's always like this second guess, like, I don't want to get in this thing, but I'm going to. And then there's been other times where I'm like, who would throw this away?
Yeah.
So it's like, this is perfectly okay. Why would they throw this out? And again, it comes down to another man's trash is another man's treasure. One man's trash is another man's treasure.
Yeah.
And the other thought, like when I was reading this list, in my mind, I could see this small, petite, hippie girl with a short haircut and probably, what is it? It's not cannabis. What's the hemp? Wearing like a hemp blouse or something, and beads in her semi-dreadlocked hair. Like I just saw like a hippie girl making this list. Like I don't know who this person is. Lisa Lowe, whatever. So in my mind, it's like this little hippie girl talking about her adventures and how she manages to stay off the grid and spends as little money as possible a month and then at the same time, this person has somehow gotten past the stigma, gotten their mind past the stigma of, oh, you're nasty, you're jumping in a dumpster, to there's freaking gold in this trash bin. It's a trash bin. You want to call it a dumpster? It's the trash. And she's digging through society's trash to fill her coffers, to fill her fridge. And it sounded like we'll find out as we go through the list, that she also shares her finds. And my whole thinking was like, I wonder if she's even telling them it's coming out of a dumpster.
Oh, yeah,
that would just be this whole other thing. So yes.
Huh.
Dumpster diving always seemed kind of dirty to me, but at the same time, I've found things in the trash and took it home. I've taken stuff off the side of a dumpster, and so I don't think I'm quite high and mighty to be looking down on these people. And I think at the end of the list, and then I clicked a couple links on her blog that took me to like the do's and don'ts of dumpster diving, and I started imagining like, I wonder what I could find, like this. I started to wrap my mind around it, and I was able to kind of get my head past the, all right, I'm either homeless or a hippie or, just some, like somebody who walks around and they're always dressed up for a lure thing, like their life is, I see weirdos dumpster diving, all right? In my mind, if you're dumpster diving, you're a little bit of a weirdo, and maybe on the fringe of society. I don't know. That sounds high and mighty coming from me.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I said it's kind of like where do we draw the line?
Yeah.
As appropriate or inappropriate? Because like part of me is not a part of me is like there are certain, if the situation is that. I'll dust off the dirt.
Yeah. well, that I've worked at 2 major hardware stores, and I worked in the garden departments, and just my department alone, the amount of soil that goes in, and like maybe something that we just know won't sell, like maybe the label came off, or a bag got punctured, and then we just throw it in what was called a hopper, and then with a forklift, you pick up the hopper and you take it to the dumpster and you dump it. And I've experienced from these 2 jobs that I'm bothered by it. It bothers me how much waste is going on. And we had this conversation before about where I had those 2 ladies from Mexico staying with me. And they were telling me how wasteful Americans are based off of how I cooked my breakfast. I think I was cracking eggs and throwing them out, and they had a problem with the shells. And I cut the ends off the onion, and then tore the skin off and threw it out. The ends and the skin, and then
wasteful bastard.
Nice. And then I skinned the potato and threw the skins out, and she's like, no. And one of them grilled them up for me, and I was like, wow, these are actually pretty good. Like, so you hear dumpster diving, and you come in with this like expectation, like I have, of homeless and hippies and whoever weird people are climbing in these dumpsters. But in reality, there's a problem going on in society right now where there's so much waste, and I don't think it's just America, like or us here on the res, like there's waste going on, and people call it recycling. Like I heard people say, oh, well, Mexicans are the original recyclers because they use everything they have, and natives, everybody's like, oh, the natives are really great about hunting because they used every bit of the animal they kill, as they use up as much as they can, so it's not a waste. So I think really, if you're out there and you're like, hell no, I would never dumpster dive, I just kind of want you to go, think about it in that point, how much waste is going on. Because all I could imagine is like, damn, this is my own department. Like at these two stores, there's so much waste going on in just my department, and there was at least 10 departments, maybe more. There's a lot more, maybe, and they all had something going to the trash. And I could imagine, like, we've thrown out whole groups of plants that just looked a little not so good. Like they had a few, their flowers weren't on there anymore, and maybe a couple leaves were brown. But it's like, hey, I could take this home and freaking do something with that. It just needs a little love, and you can bring it back. Like, this is some bullshit. And then there was times where I had customers, like I think weekly at least, there was somebody who would come in. They'd go through all the plants and then load up cartfuls of plants to go directly in the dumpster. And everybody would go, where are those going? And I would hate to tell them because I would get somebody going, hey, I'd be like, all right, they're going to the dumpster. And they're like, no, you can't. Like, I'll take it. I'm like, I can't. We've been over this. And every time I got asked, I was like, we can't. I can't. I wish I could. This is BS. And then they'd be like, hey, just slip it in my cart or just put it in my cart. I'd be like, yeah, there's cameras everywhere. I'm not doing this. This is my job. Like, but it was always like a arm twisting kind of thing to be the guy that threw all this stuff in the dumpster. And like, when you think about how many people out there would love to just have a new plant to brighten up their day, and I'm just talking about the garden. But like there was like wood, there's wood and tile and maybe a pipe that doesn't have its tag. There's all this stuff, and like there's usually accounting going on for anything that goes in the trash. But sometimes there's just stuff going in the trash because it's unrecognizable or it's damaged, and it's just like, that was hard to watch and do and be a part of. And the thing about those two places where I worked, they had powered dumpsters. I would tell them, like, this is going to the dumpster, and they're like, well, where is it? Because I'll go around the back of the store and I'll go get them out. And I was like, no, it's a compactor. It smashes the hell out of everything, like just crushes it all up, and it's locked away. And it's like, please do not climb in that and get yourself crushed. Like, don't do it. No, So I've stood over a dumpster when it all got blocked up and had to like jam stuff down. And I'd watch this giant mechanical arm just crush, like, perfectly good stuff that I could use personally. And it was always like, I can't risk losing my job over this stuff, but it was really hard to do. There was a few times where it was just like, God, this is bullshit. They gotta work something else out. I think another example was one, there was like, I guess somebody wasn't doing their job, but like this whole pallet full of containers got like, they were in the overhead so long that they were no longer in the system. So they had this whole thing, they called it penny out, and it means, it's still exactly like it was when it came in the store, but they called it a penny out, and it would be like everything on the pallet. So let's say 100 containers would suddenly be worth $1. So they've all pennied out, and now they're $1. Like if you could buy the whole pallet for $1, and that's what it was worth to the company. And sometimes stuff like that would go in the trash. They'd account for it and then chuck it in the trash. Other times, like a really big shipment, they'd donate it. But the thing is, they've gotten burned so many times that they were more cutthroat about it. Like, somebody took this free stuff that we tried to give away, and then they went and tried to resell it. Or get a return. Something jacked up. Yeah. So it was like, one person ruins it for the rest of us kind of thing. So, yeah, I just went way deep here. As I do.
So then what's the scientific side? Like, why is it not a good thing?
Well...
Or...
I always scale up. whenever I think about something I don't like, I scale up and go, what if this is how it is across the country? Or, just across the state. And these stores that I worked at, they were across the United States and probably in other countries as well. So it's like, damn, like, I could see all the waste that was going on in my single store. And it was just heartbreaking to, like, there's need out there.
Yeah.
People could use this wood or tile or something. They just need a little bit more, but instead they got to come in, buy something brand new, when what's going in the trash is just as good and it's getting crushed and destroyed. And then we're also paying somebody to take it. And it's like, all right, we're tracking money and losing money, and it's all wasteful to me in my mind. It's like, man, this is an incredible amount of waste. It's got to be hundreds of dollars, and who knows, countless companies that put these things together, and it's going in the dumpster and being crushed. It was probably one of the most conflicting things about having those jobs was the waste. And so, like, waste, I think, is really the key part to take away from this. When you start going, oh, dumpster diving, it sounds awful. My first impression is this is awful and dirty, kind of nasty, kind of nasty. But I've had total experiences in my life where I was just like, there's got to be another way. And I think whoever is out there dumpster diving, like this girl on this blog mentions finding groups in your city to, get a dumpster diving buddy and join groups that go out, and some of them even work out going into a store and talking to a manager and saying, is there anything you'd like to donate? We can come in regularly and take these things before it goes into the dumpster. But I think I already gave one of the points away. So my scientific mind always scales up. I always go, what if this is how it is in the state, or the United States, or the entire North America? Like, who could use this? Like,
yeah,
there's plenty of global issues that tie into this type of thing, and I feel like I often feel powerless because of how big it is, the scale of it, and how much. Like, I always have a problem with complaining about something while you do it too. So, like, in relationships, I'm awful because it's like, hey, don't give me shit if you're doing this too. Like, I don't even want to hear it, and that drives ladies crazy. I've driven women insane with that. Like, I've been in relationships and it's like, wait a minute. You cannot give me crap for this if you're doing the same thing. Like, don't even start. And they want to start. They got to get it out. So I think I gave too many details there. But anyway, so I think that's another episode. We'll put a pin in that. Maybe take a note, Sky.
Rewind.
Let's take that back a few seconds here. Again, the takeaway is how much waste are you comfortable with? And really, I think it comes to scale. Like almost every day we're taking out a bag of trash in this house. And I'm like, how the hell are 3 people creating this much freaking trash? And it's packaging, it's containers, stuff that no longer has use or value to us once we've taken out what we want from it. So, like, before, like, yes, have your first impression, anybody who's listening. Let that impression go through your head. Yeah, dumpster diving, but maybe start thinking or reshaping how you think and go, how much waste am I comfortable with? And I'll tell you what, I've seen and dealt with and had a whole inner conflict over the amount of waste I was a part of, and I wasn't even thinking about it in connection with this until we just started talking, and now it's like, man, the waste that I've seen and been a part of, it's heartbreaking, and it still kind of hangs over my head. Like, I still remember it, And like I always go to the scale, like how much of this waste is going on, and like is it really all that necessary? Like some things you couldn't save, but like a prime example would be somebody either a forklift, like we had pallets of soil. Say a forklift stabs their forks not in the pallet but into the bags. Suddenly you got 2-3 bags with giant gaping holes that even if you taped up and put a discount on, sometimes they're so destroyed nobody will buy it. And it just hangs around and gets kicked around and starts spilling all over the ground. It's on the ground, and then we clean up, so we're sweeping up all this soil that's coming out of there. And like ultimately when it left the company and came to our store, it was destined to be in someone's garden, to nourish someone's plants there, give life and support life, and instead it went right back out and into the dumpster. So,
damn.
So dumpster diving. Here we go. You want to kick us off, Sky? You want to?
Yeah.
We'll start at number one. This list.
Yeah, let's start at number one, but
So do the title again.
The title is 10 Reasons to Dive, or 10 Benefits to Dumpster Diving.
Okay.
How do you feel about the expiration date? Like, do you follow that?
Oh, good question, Sky. Let me answer that. All right, so milk is one of those ones that I think everybody checks on an expiration. But I always smell my milk. Like, I check what I'm paying for. Like, if it's an older one, I might get the newer one. But once it's in my fridge, I'll smell that fucker until it smells wrong, and then it goes. So, like, milk it kind of goes a little sweet before it goes bad. And I actually like me some sweet milk. So
you don't follow it?
No, I don't. Well, alright, so look at our medicine cabinet. I've got pill bottles with ancient pills in them, but I still take them. They have all medications have expiration dates on them.
Yeah.
We have a group coming village to village soon to pick up old pills.
Yeah.
I guess it's to discourage pills from being around for kids and whatnot, but like, I don't believe in expiration dates on pills, and I go by my own scent on milk, and same with meat. Like, I smell it. If meat starts to get sweet, like, it doesn't smell like rot, but it starts to smell sweet, I don't eat it. I don't cook it. And that might be another part of my waste that I'm contributing to. But I feel like that's the turning point, and I think the sweet scent comes from bacteria. I'm not sure. Like, the stank definitely does, but I think the sweet is the beginning of that.
Okay.
How do you feel about expiration dates?
Well, I had a funny story that was kind of related to number one.
Okay.
So,
what is
the number one benefit, according to Lizelette, or Lizelette.
Hey, she lies a lot. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. It says, it is fun and exciting. You never know what you're going to find. But 9 times out of 10, it'll be a lot. And often it is good stuff too. And maybe it will even be the kinds of things you have never tried before and wouldn't have if you had to have paid for it. But you might really like it. So this reminds me of a story, because the reason why I asked about the expiration date, because I think someone will throw out something because the expiration date has passed. Yeah. But it's not open. The seal was never
Damn, that's a whole other level.
Popped open.
Yeah.
So, but like, it takes me back to the story of me and my grandma, and we lived with her in Tucson, and we were at these apartments, and you know everyone takes their dump to the dumpster at the apartments, and I remember taking our trash there, and there was all these bags of Doritos. They weren't open, and I was like, I told my grandma, and my grandma, she's old school, so like, I don't think expiration dates were as big of a deal as now compared to maybe in her time, because it was like, it's not open, it's still good.
Yeah.
So I think we got like 4 or 5 bags of chips.
Yeah.
And
do you think that's why it was there?
I think so. I mean,
they were expired.
Yeah, I think that was maybe. I mean, I can't remember. That's why I'm thinking maybe that was why they were in there. But
interesting.
For whatever reason, they weren't open and they were just there.
Yeah.
But like my grandma, she said it was fine. So it was like, as a kid, I was like, all right, cool. I mean,
lesson learned. Yeah.
A lot of pastimes of like just playing at the dump, you know, finding things to play with, and so I don't know. I'm on both sides. What do they say? Both sides of the fence, or whatever. So this is kind of true. It is kind of fun and exciting.
Yeah. I was always excited going home and showing up with my new quote unquote my new couch. Hell yeah, just a little Febreze, maybe a little antibacterial, some soap or something. It'll buff it right up. Throw it in my living room.
Yeah, I remember it. But you know, it's funny too because I remember like you accumulate so much shit like in a year or 2 years at an apartment, and then you got to move, and you don't have a place for all that shit you accumulated, so you just toss it at the dumpster. And I remember one time I was moving out of this apartment and I was going to school, and all the stuff that I was putting at the dumpster, like not even like 10 minutes to like less than an hour, the stuff was gone. Yeah. Like someone else saw it and was like, nah, this will work for me.
Yeah.
This is good.
Yeah.
It was just so fast. Like,
yeah. At my last apartment, I had like stuff that I knew I wouldn't have room for here, and I knew it was still good, and I knew nobody was going to show up to get it if I called or put out the word. So instead of throwing it in the dumpster, where it would definitely get trashed and probably put into the dump truck, I would put it on the side where people could see it. And people would take that so quick. Like, so quick. It was ridiculous. Just like you say, you know, you do your first run to the dumpster, you go back inside, and you come back for your next run, and it's already gone. You're like, whoa, okay. I've got a camping cot out here in my yard right now that I had found just like that on the side, and I thought when I first saw it, I was like, Dad, it's probably pissed on or something, like it's probably torn, like why would somebody do that? And I pulled it aside and looked at it. I was like, oh, it looks maybe a little bent, maybe. And I started like kind of setting it up, and it wasn't bent. It was curved to resist, I guess, bending more or something. And I was like, oh, this is going with me. Like, I'm taking this on for sure. So, yeah.
You know, and somebody might throw away something because maybe like they have a bad memory of it, and it's totally fine. It's just like they don't want to see it, so they just get rid of it. But it's like nothing technically wrong with it,
dude.
So
you've been in my room, and I got all this artwork up now. I've got at least 2 of them. I'm looking at the wall right now. 2 of them are paintings that came out of a dumpster. One of them is like a giant 30 by 60 Starry Night painting. And I was like, why the hell would anybody throw that away? It's fantastic art. So now it's on my wall. It came out of a dumpster, so I'm just as nasty too, I guess.
Food.
Oh. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, but like, I was watching a TikTok of this lady that found like all these like produce, and I know like that too in the stores. Like, I mean, the produce doesn't stay fresh forever, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, and it's almost like a risk to sell something that could be spoiled or, as we say, Jua. So they just throw out all this produce. So like, I saw this TikTok of this lady just finding all these cherries, and
those are expensive.
Yeah, and cherries are expensive too. But like $9 a pound.
Yeah.
So if I invited you over, and I was like, hey, all this food that you're eating is from the dump.
You motherfucker. I would get pissed. Well, you could have told me before I started digging in.
Oh.
I probably would have still dug in. But let me know. You know, let me know.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, if I said, before you ate and I told you, like, are you eating it, or are you just eating it out of just because you don't want to hurt my feelings?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you know, that is a thing. Like I'll get those. I think it's a manager special when when the meat no longer looks super bright red, like it's not as fresh, but it hasn't turned yet.
Oh yeah,
They cut it down to like half price. I'll take those. I'll take them and take them home. And I'll either freeze them so they stop right there where they're at, or I'll cook them right away, same day kind of thing. So like I always wonder about that. There's what I've learned. I've never worked at a grocery store like that, but like what I've learned or heard is that you know, they have their standards, and at some point, like I think they've said they will get rid of a package of like well, you know, they get a little bruised, a little fruit gets bruised, a banana will have a brown spot, and then it just won't sell. Like I think that was the craziest thing. Is like if something would get damaged on its way just to the shelf, and then I get it out of the package, like, oh, the box got dropped or something, or, you know, in the truck it rolled over, so suddenly, you know, maybe the package got dented, or there's a little bit of a leak or something. It sucked, because I always knew, like, this is probably not going to sell, or it's going to become a mess on the floor. Like, I knew immediately, oh, this will be waste.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of that's just like it's just accidents. Or
but I would do the same thing if I were walking up and say let's do something simple. If you walk up and you're about to grab a package of batteries, like one of those 24 packs, if you roll up and there's two boxes there, one's looks exactly like it did the way the factory wanted it, and then say one's been broken and torn open, but it's got all the batteries and it's been taped up, you grab the fresh box. I would, right? I would grab the fresh box. Like, don't want one of those, you know, they're stuffing used batteries in here or something stupid like that.
You know, you were talking about the milk thing. I tend to do that because I also, when I work in the grocery store too, like, you're supposed to put the stuff that's going to expire in the front versus the stuff that might expire a little bit longer towards the back. But like now, when I go to stores, I don't go to the front. I go to the back. Still no that.
Yeah.
And well, I'll compare the dates, but then I think like, man, we drink. You know, sometimes I'll just eat cereal late at night, and so we drink a lot of milk. So like, I'm like, does it even matter? Because milk will be gone before both of these dates. Like we'll get it done before the expired date.
Well, for me, it's like sometimes we tear milk up quick in like coffee and cereal, or my son will be here and he'll have cereal, or milk and cookies, and he'll tear it up, and then maybe it'll be the week I don't have him, and then it's like I need to get all the dates, the expiration date I can get. I'm paying the same price. I better get the full amount of time because he's not going to be here, and I might not drink it in time, so I don't want to waste the wastable, you know? Like, I want the full amount of time that I'm paying for here on my milk, just in case it sits in the fridge longer than it should.
I get you.
So I do go to the back. Damn. I'm part of the problem. Obviously, I'm part of the problem. I complain about it, and here I am doing it. It's what I just said earlier. That bothers me.
It's not the worst thing.
It's hypocritical. And I want to say a little neurotic. You know what I mean? Like that whole thinking. Like the whole thinking of the two packages of batteries, they are the exact same thing. And even if you really think about it, in the end, you're going to take the packaging off every single battery. And all you'll be left with is batteries. So it's like a messed up package has no value really once those batteries come out. They're just there to get them from the freaking manufacturer to your home. And now there it is, like, oh, it's going to be on that shelf forever because nobody wants the messed up box. And it sucks. Like, anytime something got damaged, I was like, damn it. Like,
it's kind of superficial, you know? Like,
totally.
We'll only buy it if it's packaged neatly.
Looks nice. Yeah.
Oh, man. So, let's get into number 2. Cause,
I think we haven't even gotten close to being in the dumpster yet. We're still talking in the aisle, looking on the shelf. We've even talked even further away from that, like being behind the scene, going, oh, this box just got damaged, or you putting the milk for the new milk in the back.
Yeah.
So we've even gone a step further away from the dumpster. So read number 2. Maybe it'll get us a step closer.
It is very good fitness training.
Oh, I laughed at this.
You'll never have to go to the gym again. You will be carrying heavy bags and cycling as many kilometers as you want, looking for exciting opportunities. If you become a real dumpster diving enthusiast, then you might cycle over 50 kilometers a week just for the fun of collecting foods. I guess this is your hobby.
Yeah.
But
see, this is.
I saw people bringing in their own like step stools and shit, and like, people are rolling up with supplies, and you could get really into it and just dive in and on her suggestion list, or not, it's not a list, on the next part that I wanted to bring up, or the further part I read into it, was she mentioned like having a headlamp, and your climbing in gloves, and then she even mentioned like you don't want to touch the sides, you want to be on top of the garbage, and you might even have to wash your clothes a lot, or
wash your shoes off after climbing out of the dumpster. I'm conflicted with this whole list, and I found it hippie-like, I think, because of how happy and exciting all her choice of words are happy and exciting, and this is fitness training, like, this is fun, like, and my brain always starts at this nasty. But from the get-go, she's being nasty, and she's like, but it's fun, and you might enjoy finding new adventures in the dumpster. And in my mind, that just paints a picture that Miss Lisa Lowe's as a hippie. Like, you smelly hippie, like, of course you're adventuring and fitness training in this dumpster. Like, that was, I couldn't get over that as I was reading this. Like, I was picturing this woman, or maybe, it might be her last name and it could be a guy, I don't know, but in my mind, the way how happy her writing is, I'm like, this is a hippie writing this.
Well,
so what do you think about that fitness training?
I wouldn't call it training. I mean, you might get a workout dumping into a dumpster and dumping out of it. I don't know. I guess it's I saw this one video of it, like more of a like almost kind of like in the malls they have security. So it's kind of like almost like might have been a little bit of a adrenaline rush, where you're like, you could get caught and, you're not really supposed to be digging in this. Well, so, I don't know if it's illegal or if it's not illegal, but, like, it's definitely frowned upon, but is it wrong to dumpster dive? Because, I don't know, I guess there's a lot of elements. I mean, if there's a lot of dumpsters in your area and you're, like, checking every one, you might get a workout, but yeah, I don't know. It's like, how much are you really getting into this?
I think there's definitely a stigma. You say dumpster diving, and I just think of dirty people, eating some fucked up food out of a trash can.
Yeah, and I think that's what I was thinking too, but looking more into it, it's not so much like people starving. It's almost like people like not wanting to pay for food because it costs a lot, but maybe they can't. Imagine cutting out like cost of food on your budget and just like, now we're relying all solely on the dumpster to give us our food. Like, that saves you money. Yeah.
Well, what people will see if you go to this site is she's got photos. I think the two photos I was more interested in are on the following part, where it was like the do's and don'ts. I don't think she calls it do's and don'ts, but it was like, where is it? Dumpster Diving 101 is what she called it. And she had two images of like her booty, what she got out of it. And it looked like somebody went to the store, got everything they needed, like it's an entire basket full of food, and then it's like the amount where you would also share it. Give a basket of tomatoes to your parents, or go drop it off to the lonely lady in the village that doesn't, eat so well. It's like, hey, I got all this extra vegetables. Like, I couldn't eat all. Like, some of the amounts of food she had like fresh broccoli. You know how they come in the bundle? She had like 20 bundles. And I was like, okay, I would eat 2 of those. And I would definitely feel bad about leaving the other 18 in there. I wouldn't go, this is just for me. I go, this is all going to go to waste if I don't save it. It's kind of my thinking. I was trying to put myself in these shoes. And I was looking at what she had, and it all looked clean. I think she went through and cleaned off. Like, I imagine that's what she did before she took the picture.
Yeah.
But once it got to that point, once it's on her table, you're looking at it, that's groceries. And some of it was enough groceries you could share. Or say you grew 20 bundles of broccoli out of your garden. You're going to eat 3 or 4 of those over the week, and then you're going to give the rest of that away to your friends and family. So I can imagine this lady. I'm calling her a lady. I have no idea. I can imagine her, like, people loving her for it. Like, hey, thanks for all that food you dropped off the other day. We ate fresh. You know, like we did good. It'll get you. I imagine the good feeling you get from, like, I get a good feeling if I bring, like, a little bit of bread to somebody who, you know, somebody at a funeral, they didn't ask for bread, but I'm like, hey, let me drop you off a half dozen or something. Make some sandwiches. Like, it feels good to share, and I think that's kind of what this lady winds up saying later. Like, if you look at the photos, if people are listening, if you look at the photos, it looks like you just got home from the grocery store and you just put out all your groceries on the counter. It's like she came out on top, for sure.
Okay. This is it's kind of connected to what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
You will start eating more fruits and veggies, not just because they are free, but also because they will have so many of them, and you don't want them to go so bad. So that was where, because fruit don't have an expiration date on it, you kind of eyeballing it. You kind of, you know, it's like sometimes I feel bad when, like, we get, like, strawberries and then a few of them are already kind of spoiled, and just sort of, like, almost makes you feel like the whole thing is spoiled, but well, it's not. I don't know. Well, I think that's kind of where it's like stores throw out all this shit, and then it's not really bad. It's still kind of good, but is it?
Yeah. So for anybody cringing at the idea of dumpster diving, I would say think about that feeling. Like, everybody has their own trash can at the house, and that happens a lot with strawberries. Like, you'll get some and you're like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna tear these strawberries up, and then somebody might actually push them towards the back of the fridge, and then you find them like a week later, and if you didn't get into them right away, boom, you just wasted an entire package of strawberries. And then that feeling when you take a brand new package, or it was, and throw it in the trash, and you go, damn it, somebody could have ate that. I should have ate that. If I'd only known it was there, like, fuck, I should have ate that. That feeling, I think, is what everybody who's listening should hold on to. Is like, man, that feeling of, like, fuck, that I just wasted that. I spent my money on it, or somebody spent money on it, and now it's going in the garbage. And that's exactly what's happening to all the, you know, the food at these grocery stores. You just reminded me too of George on Seinfeld.
Yeah,
where he's eating that donut it's sitting on the top of the trash, and he's like, he goes and eats it, and then they walk in on him. He's just like, oh, and they're just like, oh, you dumpster diving son of a bitch! Like, oh, what are you doing? Like, get out of the trash. Are you eating out of the trash? You know, like, oh, no, not me. So number 3 was you will start eating more fruits and veggies. I wonder if that means what she's finding most in the trash are fruits and veggies. You know what I mean? Like if the majority of the waste from a grocery store could be stuff like that. Like, you know, like I said, the bruised banana.
Yeah, you know what? I remember this one time when I used to work at UPS, and I was doing it's called a jumper. where you like passenger with the driver. And we were delivering to Whole Foods.
Yeah.
And they had like this. It was just kind of like a little area where, you know, it was like where the fruit like was discarded from. So there was a banana that was like, maybe it fell off from the other bananas, and it was just by itself. So it was like, you can't buy this one banana by itself. So it was like unsellable, but like,
damn.
You know, because we're behind the scenes in the sense of like, you know, just, you know, they're okay with us taking this fruit. The driver just threw that banana at me and I ate it. And it was just like.
And it was good, wasn't it?
There was nothing wrong with it. It just wasn't packaged the way they were trying to sell it. Or, I mean,
wow. I got a comparison there. Or, sorry, man, I keep interrupting you.
No, it's, I'm remembering it, but I'm, like, slowly, like, just, I don't know, like.
You saved that banana and then ate it. I'm thinking of a parallel here for people who are listening. Think about adopting a dog. You know, they're like, oh, I rescued this dog. It's like somebody didn't want it, and it was quote unquote, like you said, unsellable. You know, maybe there's just a little something wrong with this dog, and then people go around and they get the dog for a lot less price, maybe free sometimes, and they take it home and it becomes a great dog, and they, you know, have a long, loving life instead of this dog too going in the dumpster. It's like getting killed at a freaking at a shelter. It's like there are parallels here, and there's waste. I think humans in general, like I don't want to just say Americans, but I want to say humans are wasteful sometimes. Not all people, but like, man, there's waste that goes on. And I cringed when you said that, unsellable. The one banana you can't buy, it becomes unsellable. Like, damn, like, the parallel for me was these plants that we were tossing, and they didn't, you know, they used to have flowers, but now they're all dried up. And instead of, you know, I think the justification that they gave us in the beginning, and it was probably bullshit. It was probably just a way to get my mind off it. I think it was like, oh, it'll be more expensive to put these aside and to have to go and give them extra care, maybe some fertilizer, or to cut all the bad flowers off and bring them back. Like, what I liked about when I went from one store to the other was the store I went to after that had a discount rack. So an $8 plant can suddenly be $1. You know, a $5 plant will be $1, $8 plant will be $4. Like, I liked that. I appreciated that. So that it had one last chance to still get sold for some money and for somebody to take it home and love it. And it's just as good as the other plants. But, you know, it just needs some care. It needs, you know, it wasn't sellable, you know, it wasn't up to standard. But, but it's a fucking plant. It's alive. It's still good. It just needs someone's individual care. It maybe it got covered by the bigger plants, and so it didn't get as much water, and then now it's either on a one-way ticket to the dumpster or it made it to the dollar rack, and you hope. Like, I liked that difference was, oh, we have a rack for that. You know, it gets one more chance to get sold and kept alive and goes to, you know, a loving home versus going to the damn dumpster. So, I don't know where I was going with that. This goes deeper than I even thought now that we're even talking it up.
Yeah, well, it's almost like when you don't fit the model, or suddenly you're not making the cut, then it's almost like, you gotta get rid of you gotta destroy you. And yeah, there's still something that can be pulled out of it, or
there's this human. Would you like to be thrown away if you're not as good, or maybe you got a limp now? Too elderly, I'm older, but I have all this knowledge and experience, but now people are going to put me in a home. Like, there's this, like, I was even saying, my first impression was these people are weirdos, or they're on the fringe of society, and they probably are. If people are listening, you want to go dumpster diving, you're probably going to be seen that way. But like, if you really think about all these parallels, there's a much bigger picture going on here, and I think what's going to keep coming up is waste, and how much you're willing to tolerate, really.
Yeah.
Or how much you'll turn a blind eye to, like, it's in the dumpster, that's where it belongs. Let trash lie where it lies, let the dog lie where it lies. So, it's interesting. Interesting concept.
It's kind of like not the process, but like the trail of food and its availability, and how we calculate the days. It's almost like there's newer food always going to, not always, I mean, that's the scary thing, is like all this food and stuff that we're generating, is it ever going to stop? Is it just going to keep on coming?
Yeah.
And we're just going to throw it away because, get broken. Like, I mean, I guess that's the weird thing about it all, is like, eventually somewhere down the line it becomes trash. Or unsellable.
Damn, unsellable. I like that you brought up it doesn't fit the mold, because, people get told that. There's a real parallel going on here. Yeah. Damn it.
Amen, brother.
Yeah. So let's go on to the next one, but like we're gonna come back to that for sure, because this is my mind is being opened up here. I'm surprised how much this is hitting home, and especially through my own experience, and maybe even how people have talked about me, Oh, he's no good now, or something. He made a mistake and now he's no good. Like you said about the banana falling off the bundle. Oh, it's unsellable now. Oh, it doesn't. Or these plants that didn't get enough water now. And if you go on the human side of that, it's like, oh, they didn't get enough care. Somebody didn't care enough for this person, so now they're on the fringe and digging in dumpsters. It's like there's a model citizen, there's a model plant that's good enough for the shelf, but now it's not. So like, there's a lot more going on here, and on the surface, first impressions, it's like, oh, that's nasty, but there's more to this. Yeah, definitely, and I'm getting more and more surprised, and I'm getting more into this. So let's go on to the next one.
All right.
Oh, and I was going to suggest to you too, before you go. It looks like what she does is starts off the actual point with the exclamation mark. So like, read that with some gusto up to the exclamation part, and then pause for a second for effect, and then read what she describes on there. Because I think up to the exclamation point, that's her actual point, and then she explains it. So read it that way from here on.
Okay. So number 4.
Number 4.
No more waiting in line.
Okay.
Wait. What? People actually wait in line to pay for their food? No, not you. No waiting in line and no need to pay. It's like winning 1 minute of free shopping, except you can stay a bit longer.
Cool. All right. No more waiting in line. Doesn't that sound great?
Yeah, I guess. It's like come to the back and get what we threw away. I don't know. There's this arrogant side to it where you can be like, oh, you're paying for your shit, and I can just go in the back and get it. And so, like, are we all suckers for waiting in line? You know? That was. I think now I'm kind of understanding what you're saying about this hippie thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's like, I was thinking of this in shoes because, like, you know, with basketball, shoes are kind of, I mean, even if you don't have like the best, no, I don't want to say, it's not even the best, but it's just like the popular. You don't have you don't have to have the popular LeBrons, but you know about them more. And like sometimes when I was younger, I couldn't always afford the Jordans or the Penny Hardaways, but you know, but it was like when I started working, it was like now I have money to buy the shoes, and so it meant something more. Being able to say, hey, I can afford this because I work, and I have money to pay for these shoes. That, you know, it's almost like, you know, I worked hard to earn these, to say I can pay for it. So, I don't know.
That's part of the mindset that we've kind of been trained to live in, don't you think? Like, go get a job. Like, oh, everybody gets a job. Why aren't you getting a job? It's like, I know what you're talking about because it's like I would cook at home all the time, and then when I started making more money, it was like, I can go out and eat now. And I started eating out more because I was making more money, and like, you know, the mentality is like, all right, I'm working hard and I'm getting paid for it, so I can enjoy this.
Yeah.
But really, you know, I don't know, this is opening my eyes. I'll just put it that way. There is a stigma. There's definitely a stigma. Like you say, dumpster diving. People are going to read the title on this and go, they're talking about dumpster diving.
Yeah.
Some people might not even listen to this because they don't think much of dumpster diving. I hope that people start getting what I'm getting out of this right now. Is there's a lot more going on here.
It's kind of like what do you call it, allegorical or metaphorical? Because we're talking about the dump or someone going into the dump getting valuables,
or what we're calling trash. You know, we're putting it in the trash because it's trash. But like I don't know where I saw it. It was a documentary. And it poses a question like, how are there people starving to death when there's this much food going to waste? And they had this picture of this giant pile of heads of lettuce, and it was like you could tell some of it was all like black. You know how it gets at the bottom of your fridge if you don't eat it fast enough. Like there were black spots in this pile, but at the same time, the size of the pile of food.
Yeah.
And like a businessman would go, there's no profit here. There's no. I'd have to pay a truck. I'd have to pay an operator to load this into a truck. I'd have to pay for the gas and the truck to haul it. And will it even still be good by the time it gets wherever I'm trying to send it? Can I send it across the ocean to these starving people or not? But there's starving people here in America too. Like, it's here.
Yeah.
You know the people who go, oh, it's too expensive to take it somewhere. There could be people right outside the store starving, or down, just down the street. But the thought, like, again, the scale of waste, the scale of, like, oh, how much I would have to do to save this food and get it to somebody else who needs it. Somebody who needs it. Like, that's kind of the real bummer about the whole thing, is there's people in need all the time. And if they could just have access to this, maybe not the dumpster, but the food that has been marked as not good enough. Like, and I think I also read another article about, they had a picture of, like, they had two pictures. One was of, it was a display of limes, and one was filled all the way to the top, and the other one had a few limes in the box, like maybe a small row. There were still a lot of limes in this box, but there was a little row, and then the box next to it was filled to the brim. You know how they stack, fruits and vegetables. And in the article, somebody was saying, like, oh, well, the mentality that people have is if they look at the same two displays, they would look at the one that was partially full as empty. And it's like, that's got to be a mental thing. That's got to be like, when is enough enough? Like, do we have enough?
Yeah.
Like, grocery stores shoot to have that full look. And a lot of times it's a look. Like even in the garden department at these big stores I was working at, it was like there's a bit of illusion going on. If the product is running low on the shelf, it's not filled from front to back, we would stack stuff forward to make it look full. And people shopped more, or felt, I guess, more comfortable. The goal was to make people comfortable, or to make people think that we looked full. And that always blew my mind, because then I'd show up at the store and I'd remember that, and I'd go, oh, this or that. And, occasionally I'd be like, oh, shit, I'll pay the lower price and get this torn open bag of soil. Like, it's just as good. The packaging doesn't look as good.
Yeah.
But now, I was on the other side of that, and it's like, man, there's a lot of illusion that is getting created here, and it's kind of a society need to fit into a box. Just like you said, oh, do you fit the box?
Yeah.
And sometimes that box is a fucking illusion created by, a corporation that says, hey, studies or polls say this about how it looks, so we're going to push all this so that it looks full, just so people will be comfortable. These people who are spending money in these stores. And, like, the food that's getting executed off the sales floor and going in the back, like you said, the one that fell off, it's going to waste.
Wow.
And it's because it didn't fit the mold, or it didn't look as good. It's totally still edible, but it doesn't look as good. I think what I want people to take away from this is think about that the next time you're shopping. Like, consider it. Like, even if you don't take action on this, I want you to just open your mind to the idea that there's a lot of shadiness going on here. There's a lot of waste going on, and we don't see it. Maybe go on a dumpster dive and see for yourself what you might find in there. Just so you know, like, oh, I'm not going to buy this bruised banana because it's not as good. Open your mind, people.
Alright, well, from a business standpoint, like, when you're talking about, like, just throwing it in the dumpster, because the loss is really not a loss in the bigger picture of the business, because they're still making a profit.
Yeah.
But who that favors is the guy or the one guy or the just few guys that are in charge of the business, but like
the people at the top.
It's not really in we can't sell it, but how can we still benefit the whole we're talking about homeless, but like
dude, that just goes out the window.
It's like not even a thought. Like we don't. Not to say like we don't care about the homeless, but it's like from a business standpoint, or the homeless aren't even in the equation, or the people that are poor, or I don't know. There's a lot of weird. Like everyone is in a different situation, but like it's kind of like when I first heard of dumpster diving, it was kind of like I want to eat the food that is in there, so I don't have to pay for it, and I'm helping the environment because I'm not pouring more of my earnings into it, and so I mean. I don't know, it's almost like, because the game is so dirty, it's almost like, how dirty are you willing to get to still have, to get the benefit from it? I mean, I guess I always, like, under the impression that sometimes if you're dumpster diving, that meant that you were struggling, but it's almost like, it could be your hobby because you get the thrill and you get the exercise and you're I don't know. It's not to say dumpster diving is not my cup of tea, but it almost seems not effective. But is that my program mind, like consumer?
I think that's what I'm starting to get at here is where we are programmed as consumers. I like that you put it that way. That we got to wrap our minds around the waste, and like I said about the feeling you feel when you throw away what could have been a perfectly good box of strawberries because you waited too long or something, and then there's this feeling, this dirtbag feeling that I get. I don't know if everybody else does, but I definitely feel it when it's like, damn it, we should have ate those, what a freaking waste, and I throw it in the trash. And I keep getting reminded of this, I don't know who put it out, there's this commercial on, and I think it was either like Safeway or Fry's, or it was like a coalition of the agricultural society. Like it was this decent commercial, and it was talking about waste, and they had videotaped like the plant. Like it started off with a beautiful, let's say, a strawberry plant, and they have it sitting there blowing in the wind, beautiful strawberries on it, and then a hand comes in and picks it. And then they follow the hand to the factory, or the box that the strawberry goes in. And then they follow the boxes into the factory where they're getting stacked up. And then it gets from that onto a forklift. And then from there it goes onto a truck. And then the truck goes across country. And then the truck pulls into the grocery store. And then from the grocery store it gets on onto another forklift, and it goes into the back. And then it comes from the back onto the sales floor, and then it goes to your hand, and then it goes to the fridge, and then from the fridge right into the trash, like that waste that I'm talking about. And I was like, damn, and I think that in the end they put like a caption like, there's a lot of people working and a lot of resources put into this food, please don't let it go to waste. It was something like that, and I was like, man, that was such an effective commercial. Like, I keep getting reminded of it here, like.
Yeah.
there's a lot of time, money, and energy put into bringing these products to market, and it's a shame to let that go to waste. And it might even be a bigger shame when it goes from the store into the dumpster. You know?
Yeah.
You following me on this?
Yeah. You got me. I was lost for a little bit, but I was like, what commercial is this?
Yeah. I think it still comes on. Keep an eye out for it. It's very effective. When I first saw it, I was like, wow, yeah. That's that shitty feeling I feel when you find the strawberries in the back of the fridge and you're like, fuck, this went to waste. I would have loved eating those strawberries, and then boom, take this damn near full package of strawberries and it goes in the trash, and it's like,
Yeah.
There's a dirtbag feeling that I get when that happens. And it happens way too often. It's like milk goes bad, meat can go bad, the fucking veggies can go bad, like.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. It all goes bad. Well, at least that's how it feels like.
Yeah.
Should we jump into number 5?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Let's keep going here. Let's keep it going.
Did I mention free? Yes.
Nice.
All your shopping will be free. You can find everything you need in those dumpsters. If it is not in the dumpster, then you probably don't really need it. Think about it. Is there a way to live without it? Can you use stuff you find to make an alternative?
I think we've already kind of talked about that. Like,
yeah.
Well, she's talking about free. Can you imagine getting? Let's say you're choosing to live this life. You know what I mean? Like, say it's your lifestyle.
Yeah.
She has other links on here. If people come looking here, she has this thing called a no shop challenge. Or I think she called it a stop shop challenge. Stop shopping challenge. And I haven't read it, but I imagine it's going to go something along the lines of taking the challenge of stopping shopping for, a week, maybe a month. I don't know what it says. I could check it out, but I don't want to. I'm just saying what she's kind of putting out here with this, did I mention free? It's like how much can you find in the dumpsters to take care of what your needs? So everybody has to have shelter, everybody has to have food, everybody has to have water, and everybody has to have, somebody either caring for them or whatever. We all have these needs. And I think what she's challenging with this, the stop shopping challenge, that's what she's calling it. I imagine that's where she's going with it, is to try and see how many of your needs can be taken care of out of a dumpster. I think that's what she's getting at. What do you think about that, Sky?
I was going to say, like, if you're going to go the dumpster diving route and sort of like plan your meals off of what you're finding in the dumpster, like, it's kind of like, it's kind of like open, like you don't really know what you're going to be eating, but like in this perfect illusionary world that we live in, we kind of have say on what we get to eat, but like, even thinking of like the farming days, like where we kind of have what we grew, but like, I don't know, something, maybe a plant, maybe a produce didn't do that well that year, or maybe one did really well, so you had a lot of it, and that was kind of how you base what you were eating. So like, it's almost like dumpster diving, you're kind of going more into that, like what's in season, or at least what's what's not being eaten in the stores. So it's sort of, it's like are we programmed to think that we can eat what we want when in reality, because that's the kind of the illusion the supermarkets create. Is like,
yeah,
we have everything you need here, but like it's kind of like, you know, that wasn't always the case in the world. You know, it was like before the grocery stores existed.
Yeah,
it was kind of like what did we all grow and what do we all have saved or preserved. It's almost think about it in that sense, to where harvesting food from the dumpster is kind of sounds gross and shady, but it's like, it's kind of what it's become. You know, people throwing out food that on the surface doesn't look good, but it is good.
Yeah.
And somebody willing to go into the dirt, or it's not even the dirt, it's an unsanitary container and pull stuff out. And I don't know. I guess how clean do you gotta clean it? Or is it always gonna be dirty? Because that's where it was at.
So I got an anecdote here, and I brought it up before, and I'm sure I came off real nasty when I brought it up before. First off, I'll start us off easy here, so I don't just go right to it. Have you ever gotten a piece of cheese, like say you bought the chunk of cheese? You've been eating it, and then after a while, maybe you weren't eating it, and you pull it out of the fridge, and there's a little bit of mold on it. Have you ever gone with a knife and just cut the mold off and just kept eating the cheese?
You know I'm not a cheese guy.
Ah, shit. I always forget.
I think so. But...
All right, well, I'm trying to think of something else. Say you got...
I see that with the strawberries. Like,
yeah. Okay, there's that. So there is rotten stuff in the package sometimes. You just pick them out, don't you?
Yeah.
You just pick out a little bit of that rot, and then you got...
Sometimes I feel like, they're touching...
Yeah, well, that's what's going on in this dumpster. It's touching all the shit that's ever been in that dumpster. But so there is this cringy part. You say dumpster diving and eating out of the trash, and then there's this cringy part that comes with it. So, all right. So my example is cheese. Yours is the strawberries. Now I'm gonna bring up the nasty side that I said before, and it's like if you've ever had shit on your hands, you go wipe your ass, your finger. This is dirty. You break through the toilet paper, and now you got shit on your hands. Afterwards, you go wash your hands. You wash your hands, and I always say it's obvious that you think you've washed them good enough, because the same day you're probably going to be reaching into a bag of chips and eating your chips with your hands. And it's like, there was shit on that a second ago. There was your shit on there. You know, it's nasty. That's nasty, but at some point there's a certain amount of washing that we all agree is clean enough for you to go and reach in this bag of chips that everybody's supposed to eat out of, and you're putting your shitty hand in there. Like there is a point where everybody believes it. We don't really talk about it. I feel bad bringing it up because now we're talking about shit hands, but what I'm saying is, like, there's a certain degree of cleaning that I think we can all agree, or we don't talk about it, but there's a level of cleanliness that is suitable enough for you to still eat with your hands. We all eat with our hands at some point. You pick up a little food, you throw it in your mouth. But think of how many times you've had shit on your hands, or something awful. I guess it's not everybody's walking around with shitty hands, but what I'm saying is you got something on your hands, you wash your hands. So maybe this might help people wrap their minds a little bit more on this whole Oh, it's in that unsanitary container. Well, you take it home and wash it. And I bring up the images that she has on here again. It's, you look at what she has on display, and it looks like groceries right out of the store. You know, from the store to your house. It didn't. And if you were to see that picture, you go, "Oh, that looks like my groceries." When really, it's her groceries or the author's groceries, and they're out of a dumpster. But it looks exactly the same. Maybe she picked off a little, stank. She washed them off. And now she has this perfectly good food to hand out or to eat herself. So it's like there's a mentality that we all kind of got to focus on and work on ourselves. Like I think if you're listening to this, I want you to go home or think about this later. Like what do I actually consider clean? How far is too far? What's dirty? Is like maybe somebody out there is like, you'll never catch me jumping in a dumpster, but maybe at the same time, that same person feels like there's a lot of waste going on in the world. Are you going to do something about it, or are you just going to let it go on?
Yeah.
So there's more to this. There's a lot of underlying, and I think a lot of it is mentality. I think the standards that these stores have set, they seem cruel, but it's really like we've asked them to do it. We want our stores to look full. We want stuff on the shelf. We want the best looking products. Like these rules didn't just come out of nowhere. They are based, like I said, off of polling and research, market research, or whatever. There's people examining what's going on, and it's really, we're asking for these rules. We're asking that our shelves be full, or that all our bananas have the same color. So, wrap your mind around this. Sky, we're like an hour and a half in. Let's start knocking this list out so we can keep going.
Yeah. Well, a lot of these things we talked about, so maybe we'll get to these next 5 quick.
Let's start going through them a little faster, and maybe if something pops out of you, just stop it there and go, all right, I want to say something on that. All right.
Well, number 6. You are helping the environment tremendously. Not only can you save food from being wasted or ending up in landfills, but you can also separate the packaging from food, thereby recycling a lot of plastic. Oh shit, my computer. Damn it.
You want me to continue it?
Yeah, I got locked out. And if you don't eat meat, fish, you can give it to someone who does on a regular basis, so that they will no longer have to go shopping for meat. The way you can even save some animals' lives if you are not sure why eating meat and fish is bad for the environment. In addition to being cruel, watch the documentary Cowspiracy. So,
dude, let's make that an episode. Let's watch Cowspiracy at some point.
Yeah, I think it's like
probably gonna fuck up meat for me.
Have you ever watched Super Size Me? Or the guy just eat?
But I heard the guy talk about it. Go ahead. Say what you
No, that's what that reminded me of. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think we talk about that a lot with recycling. Like,
how much of it is wasted?
Or how much of it is benefiting us, or is it even? At times it feels like a lost cause. Like, I don't see enough people doing it to where I'm seeing a big impact.
You know what I loved? I went to the zoo recently, and I saw it before, but like I'll just bring it up here. They got all these trash bins. So you're taking your trash. I think it's recycling bins too. You take your trash and your recycled items. You separate them out. You throw them in the bins, and then you look on the side of the bin, and it says this bin was created using 6,000 something water bottles. Like they have little signs or plaques on the side that say that. And I love that. I love that it's pointed out. You don't have to guess. It's like, wow, that one container has eliminated this huge waste of bottles that we're always contributing to. You know, it's like that. I think that helps. I think there's like a whole set it and forget it thing going on. Like, well, you collect your cans, and you put it in the recycling bin, and that's the end of your responsibility. It's like, all right, hey, I recycle, so now you feel better about yourself. And I like, like if somebody doesn't recycle, because they're like, oh, there's no point, and then they see a plaque like that when it's pointed out right in front of them, or I think they've done it with park benches too. This park bench took 10,000 water bottles out of circulation. Like I think pointing it out and making it clear like that, a plaque that everybody will see. I think it's the type of stuff that could turn a non-recycling person into a recycler. Like, oh, they actually are using it. Oh, it's not some wasted effort, because I think what you said there says it all. This is such a huge problem. Again, the scale of this waste, that a lot of times when you really start to think about it, it's pretty easy to go, what can I do about it? It's so big, it's so huge, I can't do anything about this. And I'll tell you, I feel that way about a lot of things. A lot of things. And so, what's crazy here is, like, we have recycling bins, but they're kind of far away. But, like, we have them now. I like that. I liked when I was in the city and we got two bins. One's for recycling, one's for trash. I feel good filling up the cardboard and, like I said, all the packaging that no longer has its value for you because you took the product out. But now it's like, damn, this is product too. Somebody went into designing and somebody gathered the cardboard. There's trees being cut down for just this packaging that is now going in the trash. And I think I've brought it up before, like the dumps in town. People drive in, they dump their stuff down, and then they just bury it. And it's like, all right, now that's where that ends. It's not getting reused. It's not going back into circulation. It's getting wasted right there. It's going in the ground. Might poison our water one day, or maybe one day. What I think might be crazy is if one day when everything goes to shit because we're wasting so much, if we go back and start digging up our garbage to see what we can salvage. It's a dirty circle going on here, it's a cycle of waste. And it's all kind of hidden. It's just out of view that I think it's easy for all of us to just kind of forget about it or to like put it in the back of our minds when it's not right there in our face. Like that's because I was a part of it. Like I said, filling up the freaking dumpster with all that stuff or chucking all those plants. Now I'm aware of it. Now maybe I'll do something about it. I'll go and buy off the discount rack and bring some poor helpless plants home and make my house look beautiful while at the same time making sure that whoever's been watering them this whole time and whoever started the seeds didn't do that in vain.
Yeah.
I mean, why do it if we're just going to waste it anyway? Like, why? Like, I'm not saying we need plants to live like that. Well, we do, but I'm saying like you don't need a flower in your yard to live. But for some people, that goes towards mental health, and mental health seems to be key to our survival as well.
Oh yeah.
How well we do.
I see that all the time.
Yeah. So these are things to consider. Yeah, the power of having a beautiful flower or some sort of green plant in your house. It gives back. It pays off in mental health and satisfaction with your home.
Yeah, so, I remember I was saying like they were doing a study where like kids, or I think it was more towards females, that they were more inspired because they were around trees, and the trees are kind of like the symbolic, like growing, and to kind of just be around that area, you're kind of inspired as well. So, you know, it's almost like we talk about just throwing shit away and just not fitting the mold, but it's like it still can contribute. It still can provide somebody or something with, I don't know if it's nutrients or if it's just good energy, but it's like it's not waste.
Yeah.
But let's number 7 is you even help the stores because you can reduce their environmental footprint by reducing their waste. Often stores will have to pay someone for the removal of their trash, but you do it for free. How convenient for them.
Yep.
I mean, I think that's true.
Yeah.
Let's just get back at it.
Hold on, I'll just say that giant compactor that I was stuffing every night with the garbage out of the store.
Yeah.
That had to be hauled away like every other couple of days on a giant truck. They'd had to come pick it up and they'd haul it somewhere else.
Yeah.
I can only imagine how much of that is just straight waste. They're gonna dump it somewhere. And I always wondered where. Like, did it just go to the dump down the road, or they got some place? So yeah, that reigns true for sure. I've seen it firsthand, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I wonder like certain trash is filling up certain landmines, or like, is it only certain trash is being delivered to certain places, or?
Yeah.
Or, I mean, I don't. It kind of reminds me of, was it in Aho where there's no dumpsters? You have to like deliver your dump. Or am I getting that wrong?
That might have been the case at one point, but last time I was there, that wasn't it. I've been to places where you just pull in, you weigh your car coming in, you weigh your car coming out, you just throw what you don't want in this giant room, and they smash it up. I'm sure there's somebody out there going on the other side. Well, that created a job. There's drivers out there that are, making good money now.
Yeah.
So, I think that's the huge part about this. There's always an opposite side to it. And, maybe the ones that are pushing on the negative side have more money to throw at it. Like the fat cats can afford to pay somebody to take that trash versus having it go to some good cause.
Yeah.
Or something like that. I don't want to play that card, the free card of all the fat cats, but like the pushback of we'd rather have the jobs.
Yeah.
My mind goes to the end result is like at some point we could all be screwed and jobs are going to be pointless if we keep going the way we're going. You know what I mean? Like yeah, you can hold on to that idea, or we can figure out a way we don't need the money. Maybe we'll all still be fed. I don't know. We'll come back to that. Let's keep going.
Yeah, I think that's the model that we're talking about. That we're trying to fit in, or we think we're doing our part, but we're really tearing things up more.
Yeah. So number 6 and number 7 were really like why go dumpster diving? Well, you're going to be helping a lot of people out here.
Yeah.
Even yourself, and you might even be contributing to. Where we say, oh, this is such a big problem. What do I do? She's saying, here, go help the store out and help out our environment. This is one thing you can do.
Yeah.
If you could just wrap your mind around the fact that you're jumping into a dumpster and maybe even eating out of a dumpster. And it's not just like, if you really think about it, it's not just the grocery store dumpsters that you're going to be dumping in. There's going to be, furniture or wood or something. There's, I guess earlier on one of these points, it was, you'll never know what you're going to find.
Yeah. Well, I think that was where I was like, that's kind of weird. Well, not weird, but like, it's like you're going to the dumpsters where you're kind of expecting a certain type of thing. You're kind of jumping into it, like, what can I find? But what I also saw is like people going to dumpsters where they know it was going to be from a certain store or a certain area, like the mall, where there's all these stores that you want to actually get stuff in, but you're just seeing what you can find in the dumpster. It's not like, oh, I'm starving and there's just this random dumpster and I'm gonna go look and find, see what I can get out of it. It's kind of like picking and choosing on where you're gonna like, specifically, I'm going into this dumpster because it's located by this store.
Yeah.
And this store has this stuff that I like. Like, I almost like different levels to the whole dumpster diving, like why you do it. Like, there's a lot of reasons and motives to why someone would do that.
I was thinking of like times where I wasn't making as much money, or maybe like an unexpected bill pops up. Like a once a year bill, like you gotta re-register your car, or maybe you bumped somebody, so now you gotta pay or you get a flat, you gotta pay for a new tire, fucking nail or something, and now the money that you were supposed to have for your groceries has been reduced, and maybe you eat all your food and you're just waiting for that last paycheck, like. Maybe there's something in that dumpster, but like your mind doesn't go there, or at least mine wouldn't. Mine didn't. Mine's probably still won't. But this is a bit of an eye opener. Like I don't know if I'm gonna be going dumpster diving tomorrow, but this has definitely made me think about the impact. And
does it Fly the Conchords? You ever watch Fly the Conchords?
A few times, yeah.
They're like starving musicians, and they don't really have jobs. They're poor, and they're like from New Zealand, so they're like they're really out of their element. But there's an episode where they're like really like struggling, and one of the guys just goes and gets food out of the dumpster, and he comes home and he's like, hey, I got groceries, and one of it is like a half-eaten sandwich, and it's like orange or like a tomato, and the guy starts to tear up the sandwich right away, and then he tells him, nah, I just found this, and he like gets grossed out for a little bit, but he's so hungry that it's like, I don't give a fuck, I'm still gonna eat it, and it's just, man, if you're in that position where, maybe you don't have groceries and you are a struggling, college student, or or you lost your job and you're in between jobs. I guess desperate measures, like how far are you willing to go that far into the dumpster? Like, yeah, because it's not even like not to say like I have all kinds of experience dumpster diving, but it's like there's not really a guarantee that you're gonna get anything either.
Yeah. Maybe go peek next time. You're driving down the road and you see some dumpsters, like, take a look.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. I think if at the very least we've got you, the listeners, thinking maybe a little differently, like maybe we took a little bit of that stigma away, then we've done our job here. Like, this is this is kind of
how do you feel about yard sales?
Exactly. There you go. Like, I feel that's another one of those one man's trash, another man's treasure. Let me go get something I need super cheap here, or damn near free, and they get rid of their trash and I get something I've needed or wanted so bad that but maybe couldn't afford. Like the afford part. I thought for sure she mentioned it in one of these. It was like, I think it was like trying something new. If you found something new that maybe you wouldn't normally buy because of the price. I think that was one of these points that were on here.
Yeah.
I've got a big thing to say. I want to wait till the end, but I'm starting to think we don't even have to read all of these. Like, I don't think
so.
I think we've been inspired enough to, like, well, why don't you just read the last two and then let's see if there's more that comes out. Just read them, because this girl's got more blog going on here than we're even going to touch on.
So let's go into number 9. I'm not even going to read number 8 because it's pretty much repeating number 1.
Oh, yeah.
You learn so much about food. You learn to smell, touch, pre-taste, and examine your food closely before you eat it. You learn the expiry dates and when and not to take them seriously. You learn about food production, distribution, and waste. And most of all, you learn how much food really is available. After a while, this can help you feel more self-reliant, because you know that whatever might happen, you will be able to find your own food. You won't depend on money anymore to feed yourself. You also become more mindful about eating because you know where your food came from. Well, I don't know about that. At least in part, the long journey it had before finding you.
Yeah. Read number 10.
And last but not least, dumpster diving is a great way to share with others and to give freely. So share your finds with others and enjoy the feeling of giving without expecting anything in return. After all, you have all that you need now. It is the best feeling in the world. Give to the same people regularly so that you learn what they like, so that you can bring them their favorites and it won't even cost you anything. You may even find money in the dumpster. Yes, this has happened to me several times.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know. This is like, a part of me is like privileged person that can decide, hey, I'm gonna. It's almost like when people say they go backpacking in Europe.
How
it's
so?
almost like I'm gonna go dumpster diving as a lifestyle because I want to try it. I want to get away. I want to spend some time on that side. That's how hearing the way she's talking about it and phrasing it. It's almost like we're gonna do this for now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about sharing food with others that I know they might think is iffy. Like giving somebody food already is always kind of not a weird thing for me, but I think it's symbolic and it's cool to share food.
Yeah.
But throwing dumpster in the process is like, I don't know if I want to get.
Yeah, it's a little cringy.
Yeah, I mean, but is that the mindset of the machine of a consumer thinking, or am I really like, nah, we got this in the dumpster, I'll eat it because I'm willing to take that risk, but like, I ain't trying to get you sick. There's nothing in here that's mentioned like being sick, or I wonder if any of that has ever come up where it's like, I had a bad experience. Or
I think in her... go ahead.
Yeah, like I ate a bad tomato or something. I don't know. I ate a bad cherry.
In her 101 part, I think it's just another entry shortly after this, or maybe before. She has a dumpster diving 101. It's the blog where we're sending people, and she has another entry on there, and it says it talks about I think it was number 9 just now too. It kind of touched on it. It was talking about you start to learn more about your food, like whether or not an expiration date is important. You learn to smell, feel, smell, look at it, and then taste. Later on, she says, that comes in play a lot where you don't want to get sick. The point is, you don't want to get sick, so you got to learn how to do this. And then in the future, you will be avoiding stuff a little quicker based off of these examinations that you're going through. Oh, is this worth even taking home? She was I think in the do's or don'ts, it was the 101, she mentioned meat and how you really want it to still be cool when you take it. You still want it to be cool. You don't want it to smell. And I think she even said when you go hunting for food, it helps if the dumpster is in the shade versus out in the sun.
Yeah, so I saw stuff like that.
Yeah, so she does mention it. There's like, there is the concern. She is concerned, but like I said, everybody agrees that we don't talk about it, but it's true. We all agree at some point something can be cleaned enough, like our hand, to be able to eat off our hand.
That's like the 5-second rule,
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up too. I was like, those things in the dumpster. Yeah, the things in the. I mean, they probably have. Well, I think in her 101 too, she talked about researching the dumpster where you're at, meaning you stick around and you see when they take the trash out, or you see when they throw the vegetables out.
Yeah.
And then you actually can see it go in, and she even goes further about, if you do it regularly enough or whatever, she mentions going and starting to talk with the manager and seeing if they're even cool with you going in the dumpster, or if they'd rather, what she used the word donate, if the management wants to donate, the leftovers instead of throwing in the trash, because we're not, the people going in the dumpster are not the only ones who are aware that there is some waste going on, and that is fucked up. but maybe they don't have a way of taking care of it until you show up and say, hey, is there anything you're looking to donate, and can I come regularly and help you with this issue? Like they were saying, the stores have a footprint that they pay for to take care of, and you could help them, and they could help you. You know, maybe you don't even have to go dumpster diving. Maybe if you regularly just showed up to a store and talked with management and said, hey, do you guys have anything you want to donate because, you know, that you would rather not throw in the trash?
Yeah.
Or you find out when they do their regular dumping, and then you go, hey, you show up and maybe they'll hand it to you through the storefront versus, you know, oh, go around back, I'll hand it to you or something, you know, like I think the dumpster is the big hang up, you know. Oh, you're eating out of a dumpster, eating out of the trash. But like, I think what we're really talking about here is waste and doing something about it. First of all, become aware of it. There's a lot of waste going on. I became aware of it on the storefront side. It opened my mind, and now, you know, now that we're talking about this, I'm a little more open to the idea of either dumpster diving or doing something about, like it's no longer so cringy when I think about it. It's like, damn, there are plenty of times where I wish I could do something about it. You can become aware of it and then have no way of doing something about it.
Yeah. Maybe throwing a few more steps in the... Well, it feels like recycling is supposed to...
Yeah.
Recycling is supposed to do that, where you're turning it, what's supposed to be the waste into, hey, this can be reused, or this can be salvaged, or this can be...
shined up.
Somebody wants this, you know, somebody can use this part, you know, but... I don't know. I don't know if it's just we don't recycle because we don't see the end result of what it's going to become. Mm-hmm. And we just assume, well, it's trash, or...
Yeah.
I don't even know if I can say I know how to recycle properly, because I know there's, like, even recycling, there's levels and certain categories, so...
I told you on one of these podcasts that there's still a percentage of stuff that's put in the recycling bin that gets rejected.
Yeah.
So like, there's even waste that comes off of recycling. And I don't think everybody's aware of that. Like, not every single piece of cardboard you put in there gets used. And it's because, you know, it wasn't recycled properly. So there's all this other frustration that goes into that, and money and time. So, you know, let's at the very least start opening our minds to that, the possibility of contributing or not contributing to waste. And it's a fucking global issue here. It's not just, oh, you got to be homeless to care about this, or a smelly hippie. There's a lot more going on. If you're just a conscious individual, aware that there's waste going on, then, you know, and maybe you're one of those people who, yeah, you're totally aware of it, but you have no idea where to start. You know, no idea how to take on this big bad problem. There are options, and I like that. I like what this has become, because we're really touching on some real stuff, especially that whole human experience of not fitting into the mold. Oh, are you no longer sellable? Do you not fit into our box that we've created here?
Yeah.
Like I think lately we're kind of turning the society around into a way, like into thinkers that maybe the youth or whatever. Like, we talk shit about millennials a lot, and we're even though we are millennials technically, the younger generation is coming up being a little more mindful about this, and we're starting to realize that you don't want to fit into the box.
No.
That the box should be fit to you. You know, like you know, at one point society was more about fitting in than sticking out. I mean, it still happens, but we're more aware of it now, and we're doing stuff about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it's drawing the line between adapting and kind of carving your own.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Or at least feeling like you're part of the solution versus.
Yes.
I don't want to say the problem, but you're like lost in the sauce of what you're really doing, you know. And maybe it is like that, where you're not conflicted, but you're employed, and that's where the focus is. But it's almost like you could be doing something where you're part of the waste.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So.
But I don't know. I mean.
Go ahead.
I think. I think dumpster diving is. Maybe it doesn't have to be dumpster diving. Maybe it could be. I don't know. It just seems like we're at a. Profit is always the driving force, but like. The profit doesn't always. I mean, I guess it shows, but like it's like no one's really benefiting from it, and going into the dumpster to do that is like you're almost like willing to be judged or looked upon a certain way only because you're. Is it a loophole? Like stuff that you could like spend all this money on, but you're managing to get it for nothing.
Yeah. But, well, that was kind of one of the points. Yeah.
So yeah, is it a loophole, or is it something really where some of that dumpster dives is really like causing an impact on the environment? Like they're doing their part, you know what I mean? As opposed to like you dumpster dive, like that's not. I mean, that's not. That's not really something you're proud. Not to say I'm not proud if I were to say that, but like, I don't know if I can't imagine me saying that proud. Like, and I feel bad saying that too, because it's like you said earlier, like superficial or snobby, like I would never dumpster dive. But like, it's almost like I don't know why I won't, because I think I will. But and is my response just that's what I'm programmed to respond to, or am I really like, that's below me? You'll never see me inside a dumpster. You know, like I don't know who's talking.
Yeah. Well, that could be part of the programming too. Like, all right. Do you want to be seen as normal, somebody who's not going in a dumpster, or, or is that what's keeping you out of a dumpster, is you can't see yourself, or can't let other people see you as somebody who goes into a dumpster? These are just things to think about.
Yeah, I mean.
So I got a tidbit. I got a little story here. We've already broken the 2-hour mark, which is not a huge deal, but it's like it bothers me when I start trying to upload it and all that, it becomes an issue. But I got a little story here. There was a time it was me and my lady. It was like we were my baby's mom. We were together for a long time, and there was a point in my life where, you know, she had a job that wasn't paying too well, and then I left. I was fired from one of my jobs, and there was this whole point like where I was looking for work, and you know, money grew thin, and there was a point where, you know, I grew up where, because of my mom, like she always made it ends meet. Like I think I brought it up before that I never knew that we were poor growing up.
Yeah.
And the way she put it was, we ate a lot of mac and cheese and hot dogs. And I never saw it that way because I loved mac and cheese and I loved hot dogs. So it was like, I didn't see it. I wasn't aware of it.
Yeah.
And then suddenly I was on the other side of that. And it was just a point where, so because of her, I've learned, you know, firsthand, I want to, you know, when I go to the store, I tend to grab a few canned food. So I tend to live in a house where we have a packed pantry. So like, yeah, you got the foods that you buy fresh on a regular basis, but you also have this whole stored up, like, supply, this pantry full of canned foods just in case, for when money grows thin, you know? And when I was with my lady, it was like, she didn't grow up that way. I had, and then it rubbed off on her where suddenly she started seeing the value in having a packed pantry, having all these cans. It feels good to know, oh, if I ever, you know, hit on some hard times, I always got that. Like, we got the food. I could make meals out of this stuff. And there was a point where it got bad, you know. I wasn't making as much money. I was doing, like, odd job stuff. And it was kind of like here or there and make a little money. And, but, you know, ends still weren't meeting. We had bills. I had a car. We had gas for both our vehicles. And it was like, all right, we knew that she had to still go to work and take the kids to school. So it was like she still needed gas. I still needed to go back and forth between town, take my son with me, all that. I don't think my son was around during that time, as it was a while ago, back in the day. And, you know, money grew thin. And we started emptying our pantry, man. Our pantries got bare. And I don't know how we found out. I think we were always kind of aware of it, but we were on the other side of it. We found out about food banks. They do regular food banks in Tucson. And at some point we were like, hey, let's go check it out. Like, I think we were talking with a couple of my cousins or something. Maybe my aunt, she'll go check it out. Something like that. I think that it was like people we knew were going to the food bank, and we never went. We were usually donating here or there, you know, whatever we had to the food bank. But suddenly we were on the other side of it, and I was like, all right, you know, there was a stigma to it. I showed up in the food line. And it was kind of rough because there was homeless dudes in there too, and I kind of felt bad. Like, all right, we just showed up in a car, and I'm getting the same bag as this guy who, you know, he probably hasn't had a shower in a while. It was kind of rough, you know, like his life isn't going so well, but we're in the same line, and we're getting the same packages, you know, and it was eye opening. I had to swallow my pride, as they say. I had to, in order to eat, like to make sure we still had big full meals, or, you know, maybe the supplemental stuff that you can't get out of a can. So we found out about the food lines, and they did it like, I think it was like every other Wednesday of the month, something like that. I think they did distributions like twice a month, maybe once a month. And we went. and we found lists of all the places, and then we started going to multiple ones when they do a distribution, and we'd come out with, you know, one roll of toilet paper, you know, a couple packages of maybe, you know, day-old bread. It was still delicious as fuck. Like, we got, like, Beyond bread, like, good stuff, but it was maybe a little stale. And then we got, like, you know, canned food. Maybe it was cream corn because nobody wants to eat the damn cream corn, or, you know, the wheat-flavored noodles. You know, oh, people look down on it, so that's, you know, oh, I'm going to give them that out of my pantry. But damn, we were happy to have it at that point. And I remember, like, it took a lot of swallowing of my pride to be on the other side of that, on the other end of that supply chain. Mm-hmm. And I remember, you know, there was a while where we hit that pretty regularly. We, you know, we'd eat buttered bread. You know, we'd have maybe canned vegetables and some little bit of pasta from there. Maybe every now and then they get like some kid drinks, so we'd bring the kids drinks, and we'd I think we had a dog too, so a couple of them had like dog food. Mm-hmm. So like all these things that we were paying for when I was making good money, and then suddenly we were stuck. You know, I didn't have a job, and it was like scary. It got scary. Like, for me, an empty pantry is scary. Oh, we don't have that cushion of this backup cushion of food. So I've been in a food bank line, you know, the food distribution line, and you know, here on the res, like, we have what is it called? The commodities. So there's whole entire families who've grown up on commodities. It's the same kind of thing. Like, maybe we didn't get to the point where we're eating out of dumpsters, but we got pretty damn close. And I'm saying I was grateful for this donation. Like, the food bank is built off of donations, and like I said, you know, talking to management, hey, do you guys have any donations? You could get what you need and go deliver a thing to the food banks. So it was, so like I'm saying, like, I had a whole different perspective after that, where I was spending. So like I said, like I was on the other side of that line, and it opened my eyes to this whole other world of people being fed. And, you know, I got to see the faces. I was one of the faces of the people that were receiving this food, and I was grateful for it. And another comparison, there was this one spot where they only gave frozen food, or like it was like leftovers from a restaurant, and that was like a big ticket item. It was like people would stay outside the building for hours to get that, and it was like first come, first serve. And I was like, this is how you get Pizza Hut pizza. Or I think once we got like this big block of like it was like cream chowder soup from Red Lobster, and we ate it. Like, we just kind of thawed it out a little at a time, and we ate for like a month off this like block of frozen soup, and it was freaking delicious. It was top-notch food, but you know, it had not fit into the block and was being, it would have been tossed out, but instead it went to the food bank. So, like, yeah, I kind of cringe in the idea of eating out of dumpster, but I too have been on that end. So you know, the more I think about it, all the waste, and the more I think about struggling or, you know, having no choice, like, I was there. I've been there. I've been there and back again, and afterwards I was so grateful. I was like, man, like, whenever there was like a food bank, what do they call it, like a food drive, I would take whatever I could offer and throw down. Or I'd go to the store and buy a couple extra cans. Like, whatever I was buying, I'd buy a few more. And you throw in on the food drive. Because I was so grateful that at some point in one of the hardest times of my life, or, you know, feeling bad that I wasn't supporting my lady or the kids, like, I was saved by generous people that were, maybe that's their thing. They like putting out there and contributing, donating, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And that was an eye opener. So what's kind of cool is I don't know where I'm going. It was the story I wanted to share. Is like maybe I haven't eaten out of a dumpster, but we got to the point where we did need help. We did need a little bit of assistance to get us through from point A to point B. And I think that's really the big point here is it's dirty. It's like perspective. I was on one side of the perspective until my perspective was changed.
Yeah.
I think that was the point. So
you kind of got to be able to stand on both sides and see what you're standing in versus actually not actually thinking you know what it is when you actually never done it, or I just think like to know what it really is, you gotta actually get in it. I'm very thankful that I do work. I've been able to hold a job, but there have been times when fridge is looking pretty bare, and I have enough to pay the rent, but maybe not enough to get a week's supply of groceries. So some of the stuff I said earlier, it's kind of like speaking from that. I don't have to worry like that, but damn, I'm kind of forgetting that I was in those times, or I've been in those times.
Just a little hungry and a little uncomfortable about it, like not knowing what to do about it, or having to wait for your next paycheck.
Well, it's the scary part about that is what's available for like 99 cents. I think of like the dollar menu. When I lived in Tempe, I lived right by McDonald's, and they had like I feel like they did away with the 99-cent meal, but like that was like, if I could get like a couple dollars. I remember when I worked at the airport, and I was like, I just got a few dollars, I could get something off of the dollar menu. And that was like, I guess back then it wasn't really like I need a full meal to say I'm full, but it was like maybe just a sandwich. I'll be good, till I get paid on this day, or I remember it was a direct deposit, so it was like I wouldn't have no money until like at midnight at that time, so it was almost like I could just give myself a little something.
Just hold out, just a little bit longer.
Because sometimes you're at the end of that cycle where you're kind of running low on the funds, and it's like if I could just get to these next couple of days. But then that's where the ramen noodles, the bologna. The hot dogs and the freaking mac and cheese. So I mean that's even another element to it. There's like the quality of food. Maybe
that's a huge part.
We bypass because we're just trying to be fed versus.
Well, there's only so many times you can eat McDonald's. Like the guy you brought him up, Supersize Me. He got extremely unhealthy and unfit. Like, his life was in danger. He had to stop the challenge.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
He had to stop. He became overweight and sluggish, and, like, I think even his lady's like, he doesn't even make love the same way. I don't like it, you know? And I think at some point his health was in danger because the challenge was all he was doing was eating McDonald's. And I was like, man, like, yeah, you can eat that pretty regularly, but, you know, what's it doing to you at the same time?
Oh, yeah.
So I think this whole conversation has been pretty enlightening, and it actually reminded me of what's really going on. It reminded me that I have been there, and that I was extremely grateful for, you know, people better off than me that were donating. You know, or companies or corporations. Like, it's not all just on donation, but it's also on corporate sponsorship. And I guess what I would say in closing on that was, if you're not doing so well, that those options are available, and if you are doing so well, maybe consider going and contributing to those types of things, like buying, you know, if you can afford it, buy a couple extra cans and go drop them off. You know, find out where these places are and lend a hand or some money or something like this.
Yeah.
You know, get on the right side of this problem if you can. And if not, if you're on the other side of it, then there are options out there to help. You know, you're not stuck. You don't have to go hungry. And that's one thing I'm grateful that I had at that point, and that there are people that have that as an option here in America, or there in Tucson, or here on the res. There's people that care. This is really, we're diving into human issues here. And there's a lot more going on than just, you know, somebody climbing into a dumpster, a homeless person, or a dirty hippie. This is a bigger subject.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's other elements that are kind of like affected by what's going on, and that are like, they exist because this exists.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
Why there is this food system. Well, it's a food system, but it's like it's a consumer. Like, they're just trying to get you to buy something.
Yeah. So there you have it, people. If you're listening still, open your mind. Think about this. This is a big subject. And I think it involves a lot of people. It involves everybody, including you, whoever's listening. It involves you too. Whether you're wasting or contributing, you know, contributing to the waste or looking to prevent it. This involves you, whether you get in that dumpster or not. I guess it's what's in that dumpster, what's going in that dumpster. That's the issue here. You got any final words, Sky? Because I'm ready to.
This thing. I think we've tapped in.
Yeah.
Pretty hard on this, but I was just saying, don't knock it till you try it.
Yeah.
So, anybody that's like anti-dumpster diving, go try it and actually.
Yeah.
See why you hate it, but like, I don't hate it. I guess it's America. It's like we're in this world where that's an option. Like,
yeah,
you don't want to pay for your produce. Yeah, well, go dive in the dumpster. You might find something that you like.
Yeah. Or if you can't pay for your produce.
Oh, and that too, where, there's some people that don't pay for their produce. I guess that was the weird thing about it. It's like some people are dumpster diving out of like survival, and then there are others that are like just doing it because they might get something they like out of it.
Yeah.
And I think there's a difference. And that's kind of where I was like we're in this weird country where, depending on your financial or your upbringing or your thoughts on society, you might have a different motive to jump in the dumpster, opposed to somebody that, you know, is struggling and they have no money and, you know, they're legit hungry, you know. So, yeah. It's an America podcast, you know, comment.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Like and subscribe, people.
That's all I gotta say.
Nice. Alright, I'm gonna hit that big red button. Thank you for listening, everybody.
Peace, man.
Peace out.
Comment. Hit us up.